Nope. Oh, that's a bad crash. All right, welcome back. So I had a pretty much a late night last night. I got an idea. I've been having trouble with tires blowing out on my Mojave off-road speed build. I've been trying to figure out a way that I can run off-road with traction and still get it done, because the Method RC belted tires, the sidewalls were so soft that they were expanding. So then I got the idea that that the fire team has really thick sidewalls, and so I was like, okay, so that'll stop the sidewall from stretching. But then found the centers are not belted, so these expand real bad in the center. And not only that, in order to run them, because of this webbing on the inside, you can't bolt it onto a Mojave, because my plan was to put these on. I've got a spare body, and I was just going to run the spare body and cut it up so that I can get a bigger tire, which is going to give it less rotations for double the speed versus what this is. So I can either slow down the rotations so the tire would stop ripping the glue, because that's what's happening. The glue can't hold the tire to the plastic. So then I was like, okay, no big deal. Most of the tires, most of the rims I found are like this, and they've got a hole in the center. So I was like, okay, I'll take a set of tires apart, I'll pull the foams out of it, and then I'll glue the tire back on, and I'll fill the inside of the tire with some foam, expanding foam from Home Depot. The problem with expanding foam is it expands at different rates depending on where it is. So, and then once it's expanding, you can't stop it from expanding, so it makes the tire lumpy. That was another issue. Can't have a lumpy tire going down an off-road grass. I'm looking at grass. I'm gonna just take dirt out of the picture for now, because the Method RC wheels just had no traction in dirt. It had some traction on grass, but not much. I was still able to do 70, but that's 6 miles an hour slower than my fastest time on grass running a stock tire. Everybody was literally telling me to get rid of these stock tires, and believe it or not, the stock tires on the Mojave are actually pretty strong. Sidewall strong, the tread's pretty strong, but they do expand, and when they expand after one run, they start ripping the glue. By your second and third run, no matter how many times you've glued these things, they come apart. So then I ran the Proline wheels, and the Prolines, let me grab those. All right, so here's the Proline tire. Now, the knobbies that are on the Proline tires bite so hard that I'm getting so much traction that I'm accelerating in the first part of the field so fast that it's starting to drift the rear end around, because it has so much rear end bite, which is awesome, because finding a field that's, 3,000 feet long, so that I can do, 12 to 1,500 feet on a speed run is very difficult. The field I have, on average, is 1,200 feet. So I'm getting 600 to 700 feet that I have to do this 100-mile-an-hour speed run in. And these tires could do it. But after one run, same issue. I've glued these things 3 times, layered it, packed on the glue, and they held. But after one run, the glue started coming off. By run number 2, the tire, the foam is trying to rip out in certain sections. It's making the tire unround. And because it's unround, the rear is bouncing and it's skidding out on the grass. So that was the problem with the Proline tires. Great tire, by the way. Deontay Hives recommended these for my son. I love the tire. After deciding that this tire style is perfect for grass, but the circumference is just so small that that the tire wants to expand and pull off, the next thing I was looking for is just a larger diameter tire so that I can slow down the rotational speed and still hit the 100-mile-an-hour without trying to destroy the tire. And with this low profile, the low profiles do a lot better than the taller profile in off-road, the stiffer sidewall. So, and even on both sides, low profile here and low profile here, because there are some rims that are like the Mojave where it's got a tall profile on the face to make it look scale, but then the back has got a low profile. Now, the low profile helps because it's less rotating mass, so most of the glue trying to come undone is here at the face. It does still try to come off here. You can see that spot there. That's where the tire started to rip because it was pulling off. So with all that said, then you go to something like Kevin Talbert, taking the snowboard that he calls Sausage, and he went from running these tires on an extended version Typhon to then going to a snowboard and taking 2 Outcast 8S and cutting them in half and stealing the rear off of one and the front off the other and then the electronics or something. He took 2 of them and screwed it onto a snowboard to make it real long so it doesn't wheelie. Well, I solved the wheelies by putting on the wheelie bar. Extend it. I can extend the chassis or just put a wheelie bar on. I chose the wheelie bar option, which is working really good. But he went to the 5th scale tire size because that's less rotation mass. And he's, well, almost to 100 now. He's 2 miles or 3 miles an hour away. And that's because the Proline tire, it can handle 1 or 2 runs up at those speeds before it just rips off the rim. Because the tire's so massive, it's less rotating mass. So then he thought his Prolines were old, so he bought a new set. I don't think he glued them. He just bought them, slapped them on, blew up a tire. He even did a run with, I think, 1 or 2 of the tires were blowing off the rim completely, and he just ran it on the rim and still ran into the 90s. I think he went 97 like that, with 1 of the front tires missing a tire. Which got me to thinking, well, our biggest issue with trying to run 100 mile an hour off-road is the tire. So let's eliminate the tire. And that's where I started thinking. I was watching Destroying, him talking about grip boots and catching a football, and then people were coming out to his challenges. He hosts these challenges for young football players, up and comers that are in, you know, middle school, high school, and even college. And one of the kids that's very skilled out there, he didn't bring his cleats and he got smoked. Made him look real bad. And he's like, gotta bring them cleats. Why do you run cleats? Cleats. You run them for traction on grass so that you can stop quick, turn quick, that kind of stuff. Got me to thinking, what if I add running with eliminating a tire and I build my own cleats for the RC? So that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm building today. Here's my plan, is that I'm going to evenly space out these things and hoping that it's not too bumpy. I don't think it will be, especially on grass. I'm hoping once this is screwed on, it's going to hold it straight. And hopefully, you know, because it's evenly spaced, and yes, I'm threading them through and putting screws or nuts, locking nuts on the backside, which is going to add weight to this, which is fine. A little bit of weight, unsprung weight, should be pretty cool. So I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to build myself a set of cleats on tires. And then if that works, that's going to take out, and this will work perfect on thicker grass, heavier grass, that kind of stuff. It's still going to bite. We're still going to get traction. And as long as I have the suspension travel there, we should be able to float across that grass and reach our speeds well under the hundreds. Now, it could go wrong. This thing could be so far out of balance that it's bouncing at spring and causing the wheel to hop and lose control. Thought about that too. I might have to take the shocks apart, fill the inside with fuel tubing, just so it's stiffer and it can really plant this rim with the cleats on it to the ground. I also thought about, well, let's not use cleats. Let's use self-tapping screws and screw it in from the backside here. Just screw a bunch of them all the way around this rim. Self-tapping screws with the big washer head, and that'll give me little spikes sticking out of the rim. The problem with that is, as soon as you accelerate once or twice, a screw has a lot of force, like pulling something tight. But sideways force, the heads of the screws just snap off. So when it goes and it bites too hard, it literally just snaps off all the screws by 2, 3, 4 runs. All the screws are gone. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing. And then I went down to Big 5 to buy some cleats. And I find they have a set of 14 cleats for 97 cents. A discontinued brand that was on sale. The problem that I ran into when I opened the 2 packages, you can see this one package is taped. This only had 11 cleats in it. This one had 14, and they only had 2 packages. So for $2, you know, I got 24 cleats, I think it was. 25 cleats. So I'm going to get to drilling these and getting the cleats all around them. I got 4 rims to do, and I'll show you how I'm doing it. So here's the way I'm doing it. I'm staggering it with a 1 finger space in between the cleat. Got to get them as close, evenly spaced. And I'm drilling right next to this line here. Now once I drill all these, I'm going to go in and shave these little ridges off so the cleat sits flatter. Right now it's pointing the cleat in. It's angling the cleat, which I don't want. So I'm going to have to take these back out and Dremel around where the cleat sits. But that's okay. So what I do is I put 1 finger here. I know the cleat is going to be somewhere around there. So I mark it, eyeballing it, and then I'm drilling it. I know it's 3 holes in. 1, 2, 3. Taking the cleat, and I'm threading them into the rim, and we're going to put a nut on the backside. Taking the cleat tool and screwing them into the rim. Nice and firm. And I'm literally going to make my own set of tires now. And then these are actually really strong. These are an M5, what was it? M5, 8mm, I think. M5 0.8mm is the nut. So that's the thread pitch on all cleats. They're all the same. So now that we got the one finger, we're going to do it again. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth on this rim. So, and I'm hoping this solves everybody's problem. And I think if I did it, I was looking for a larger rim because the whole purpose of this is to try to make it the same height as the factory rim. And we're still coming up a little short on the factory tire. But as far as the Proline tires, it's going to be the exact same height as my Proline tire. From the top of the cleat to the top of the tread. So the circumference is going to be the same as the Proline tires, and I should get the same speed. Now, if I can get a bigger rim with a 17 millimeter hex and then put these on there, I can slow that down the rotational mass, and I think I can go faster. So at least that's my plan. I'm working, this is the first one I'm putting together, so I want to see how many cleats it's going to take to build a set of these. Right now, the nuts were the most expensive thing because the cleats were on sale. I'm about 40 bucks into the project. So if I can solve my tire issue for $40, it's definitely better than spending $80 on a set of wheels. Now, last night on RC Guy Garage's Live, I was boiling tires. Getting the tires off these rims. The tires were actually no good on these rims. So I was boiling them, and on the last tire, because the pot I had wasn't big enough to fit more than one tire at a time, you got to boil it for 15 minutes with a lid on because the vapors are really going to get in and break the glue without damaging the rim. So I'm going to grab the tire and show you what the tire looks like after you boil it off. Now I've used chemical before, and you put it in a bucket and you put the chemical and it makes a mess. But here, this is still wet, but that's boiling off. The tires, actually, the beads are still good. It was actually really easy. I set it in there about 15 minutes boiling with a lid on the pot. I'll insert a picture of the tire in the pot boiling. "15 minutes, take a pair of tongs, take them out, lay this thing on the table, and I was taking the tongs, just pushing down on the rubber all the way around the rim, and it snapped the glue. Then I would do it again, push the rubber down, and the glue would just snap off all the way around, and then I can slide the tire off. These tires were no good. My son had run these. He had ripped one of the tires already. So I was like, well, I got a good set of rims. The tires are no good, so I'll just take these rims and see if it works on my project. But there we go. That's the cleat idea. And somebody in the live stream said this is the cleatus Mojave now. So I don't know. Think outside the box. Try to eliminate the problems you're having whenever you're building something. You don't know if it's going to work until you try it. So I'm going to try this cleat idea. See if I can get all these built today. Get them balanced out. I am going to have to balance them. I can't have them way off balance. So I'm going to try balancing them as well. Doing whatever I have to do to make it hold. And then I have to get nuts and put all the nuts in here once I decide how I'm going to build it, how I'm going to space it. So knowing how many 12 cleats on this, I'm evenly going to space them on the next wheel. Then we're going to do them that way. I think I have another set of these. These are, well, no, these say Proline. Proline Avengers. I don't know. I was trying to find a pretty stiff rim that's flat, that's not two sizes. So, but I know GRPs are small. I might break down a set of GRPs and do the same thing on it. I don't know. I'm definitely going to build a couple sets of these, and I'm going to keep working on this because I think on grass, I think this thing's going to roll fine, give me really good traction, and I should be able to make up a lot of speed because I should be able to lay into the trigger very hard without it sliding or slipping because we're using cleats. But who knows? We'll see if it works. If it does, I think it'll be a game changer. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below what you think about the cleat idea. And we'll go from there. I didn't run the metal studded cleats because I don't want to tear up the grass at the park. I was going to just put the metal studded cleats on top of these because you can screw in a little metal studded cleat that's really going to give you some serious bite and make it a little taller. The problem with that is we're going to end up tearing up a grass field, and I don't want to do that at my local park. So these should be perfect for that. They're just flat plastic tips, and it should still bite in, no problem. But comment down below, what are your thoughts? Like hearing from you, and definitely go follow RC Guy Garage. He put out a video this morning. He's working on the fire team. He hit me up and said, Earl, why don't you do it on the fire team? Because I was trying to put the fire team wheels on my Mojave. He's like, you know, I'm like, the Mojave and fire team is the same chassis, just a different body. It's just open wheel versus closed wheel. And while I'm doing all this testing to have body protecting the wheels on crashes, I'm not spending any money on the Mojave flipping down the grass, breaking and bending stuff. So far into all the crashes and all my testing, I'm $40 into this setup. I'm $80 into the, well, $100 into the Method RC wheels, and then I'm $7 into repairing the Mojave. But go give RC Guy Garage a follow. He's out testing the fire team on road. I think he's at 70 miles an hour right now. He just put out a video today, and he's doing some onboard footage of his speed runs. So he's going for it too. I know Kevin's doing it. I'm doing it. Let's get to the 100 miles an hour. If everybody out there and thinks outside the box, think we might be able to go over 100 if the tire stays together. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch you on my next video. Thanks for watching.